Hey travelers, today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to share with you our philosophy on travel. We definitely feel that it's important to travel while we're young. A lot of people, especially older folks, will always tell us, I wish I would have done this while I was younger. So we are doing things while we are younger. We're taking advantage of our youth, our energy, our physical health, and we're traveling while we can. We don't want to get to where we're old and retired and we've got more money, but yet we are unable to do the hikes that we want to or go to the places that we want to see because of physical limitations.
When we lived in the States, we did a lot of traveling throughout different national parks. It felt like we were always taking a trip somewhere on the weekends, especially if we had holidays or time off. A lot of people would always ask us, how do you have so much time to travel? How do you find the time? How do you find the money to do it? What's your secret? And we always thought it was interesting because we felt like the people that were asking these things had just as much time off and had probably more resources than we did to be able to travel.
Yeah, we both feel like a lot of people make excuses as to why they can't travel, but people pick and choose how they want to spend their money. If you were to see our budget, you'd be kind of surprised how little we spend on some other things, and how big our travel budget is because we make it a priority. A few years ago, we took a course offered by Dave Ramsey called Financial Peace University. Dave Ramsey's argument is that you should pay off all of your loans quickly, use a snowball effect, pay off, so that eventually you'll have the capital and resources to live the life that you want. And although we agree with those principles in part, if you spend your entire youth paying off things like college loans and debts and other things like that, you're going to be this old man before you have time to travel. So we use a lot of Dave Ramsey's principles. When it comes to travels, we take some shortcuts because we feel like we don't want to be 60 years old and going to wherever, Alaska for the first time. I want to go to Alaska while I'm young so I can do all the things that I want to do there and see.
We're not saying don't pay off your bills and
by
don't
no
pay off your
means.
loans, but what do we feel is a priority for us, and that is travel.
Thankfully, we've been very blessed and fortunate throughout our lives. We only have college loan as our debts. So, I mean, everything else we have is, monthly payments for our rent and different things, which we'll actually do a separate video on the cost of living in rural Japan, so you have a better idea of kind of what our finances look like. But travel is probably our biggest category.
Another thing that we really believe in is taking as many opportunities to travel and have adventures as possible, even on the weekends.
Like even when we lived in the States, a normal weekend or a 3-day weekend, we would go up to Montreal, which is an 8-hour drive from where we lived, just for a 3-day weekend, which a lot of people would say, that's crazy, why would you go all that way? But it's like, why not? We're taking advantage of an opportunity that we don't have to work to do something that we both wanted to do.
I know that if you have children, if you have kids, that it makes this a little bit more difficult, especially if they're in school and whatnot, which is another reason why we really feel like travel is important in this stage of our lives, because we don't have children. So we want to take advantage of as many opportunities as possible before we have to kind of slow down a little bit.
We've heard that argument many times, probably more than the age is the kids. Oh, I was gonna do this, but then I had kids, and then my whole life changed. And I mean, they don't say it in a negative way or anything, but life happens. You have kids, that changes your priorities. So yeah, we want to take advantage of travel while we can, while it's still just the two of us.
Even when we have kids, which we do want to have a family, we still want to travel with them. I feel like a lot of people kind of give up that dream because they think it's too hard or it's too expensive, but we still want to try and make travel, at least like in the States or in the country that we're living in, not necessarily always internationally, but we want to make adventuring and exploring an everyday thing.
Yeah, we don't want to just stop traveling just because we have kids or wait 10 years until they're grown up and more, we want to do it while they're still young, toddlers and stuff. So hopefully it's easier said than done. So we'll see when we actually have kids. We also feel that it's important to take advantage of the opportunities that you have while you're in a certain place or country or city, but don't overdo it. If it's something you can do specific to that country, definitely do it. If you're in Africa and it's a safari or something, and that's the only time you're ever going to be there, do it. But if you're in Africa and you have the chance to go bungee jumping or skydiving, something you can do in any other country, maybe pass it up. Definitely take advantage of things that are unique to the specific country that you're visiting, so you don't regret it. But don't overspend and break your budget and go crazy hog wild so that you're going to regret it later. If it can be done in another country, we tend to skip it.
Yeah.
Not always, but we try to think, what is something we can only do or only eat or only experience while we're in this country? Although it's cliche, a lot of times you'll hear people say that they travel to broaden their worldview or to experience a new culture, and we kind of fall right into that group as well.
You know, you can travel to a place and just eat Western food. And, you know, you can go to Malaysia and just eat at McDonald's. But it's choosing to, like, step out of your comfort zone and choosing to broaden your worldview. I feel like you can still stay in your own bubble, but I feel like it has to be a choice. You should make that choice because it's always worth it in the end.
Yeah.
To understand other people and facilitate like genuine relationships with other people. It's so important to understand who they are and where they come from.
After having traveled to all the different countries that we've been to now, and of course traveling extensively throughout the US, we really feel that some of the best experiences and sights to see and most memorable places are nature. Sometimes we go to a country and it's a museum or it's a theme park or it's some man-made site, but at the end of the day, it's the parks and the nature and just the majestic beauty that is God's creation that we find to be the most memorable experience. Our favorite trip still to this day is the trip we took out a few years ago out west, and we saw the national parks, we saw the Grand Canyon, we saw Zion, Bryce Canyon, Rocky Mountains.
Arches.
Yeah, it's like those sites make the most lasting impression on us. That's why when we do travel, we try to build in at least one nature themed or one nature filled activity or day, even if it's just going to the botanical gardens and getting out and seeing nature. Another thing we feel very strongly about is to be a good ambassador of your home country while you're in other countries, while you're traveling. This is something we've seen happening more and more with, unfortunately, our generation, younger people, and it is kind of this bashing of your own country, especially as Americans. You see it a lot, especially politics. They'll just hate on America, but they forget, like, we have all of these freedoms and rights because of America. Also, when you do get the opportunity to talk to foreigners, whether you're in another country or you're in your own country, how about sharing some other places besides the Statue of Liberty or the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, a lot of people that we've met here, if they're planning a trip, they ask us, you know, what's your favorite place?
If I'm going to America, what's the place I have to see? I always tell them Acadia National Park. It's off the beaten path. Yeah, I know it's up all the way in Maine, but it is amazing. It's beautiful. It's like, it's certainly less crowded than Grand Canyon or the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, and most people will be like, what is that? You know, they've never even heard of it because they only, you know, about the places that they read in textbooks here or that they hear from other travelers. Showing
other foreigners places that make America great besides just the usuals, I think is helping, again, to promote our country and showing how great America is. So I know this has been a little bit of a different video and it's kind of gone all over the place, but this should give you at least a little bit better of an idea of at least some of our thoughts that we have on traveling and about
the world.
So if you like this video, smash that thumbs up button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Share this with your friends. We make new videos every Tuesday and Friday.
Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.